Morning, beautiful, blessed people of God. It is your girl Shaniqua Inspires, and she's up. She's sort of kind of moving. But to God be the glory, it is a beautiful day here in New York City. And I am grateful, I am thankful, I am honored, I am blessed to be here before you all. Um, and I say good morning. I say good morning. I say happy Thursday. I have already gotten up. I look as though I'm committed to getting this day started, but I don't know. And that's the beautiful part about being an entrepreneur. Your day can start however you choose for your day to start. I think I've told you all before. I have this tendency when I get up in the morning and first thing place I go is to the bathroom. I get into this cleaning frenzy. But that makes me feel productive, to be honest with you. It makes me feel productive. It makes me feel as though I am accomplishing some things. I have already washed the sink. I have pulled the trash. So I feel like I am very productive. So far so good. And of course, once you start pulling the trash, you pull the bathroom trash, you got to now go look for trash in all the other waste paper baskets. And so I've already done that. I believe today is going to be the day that I straighten up my space, because when you are traveling, when you go on vacation, sometimes depending on, okay, so when I go away for a long period of time, it is always my goal. It is always my intention to make certain that my room is clean. Good morning, Bernadette. Blessings to you, Queen. I try my best to make certain that my space is clean. I like to make sure the dishes are washed. Like everything is pretty much tidied and put away. But in the haste of preparing for travel, that's not always the case. And so when I was preparing for my big adventure to Houston, I was in a haste, right? And I'm like, okay, we got to find this. And because we're kind of like in that interim period for the seasons where it is spring, but then you go to a climate that's a little bit warmer, you got to pull out summer clothes. And so there is quite a bit of disarray. And so the space was not as tidy as I would have liked it before I left. And so of course when I get back now, it is a lot of, hey Marvin, there's a lot of things in my space that I would love to straighten up. So today, being the boss, right, being the boss of me, today is the day that I get to take care of all of that stuff. Today is also going to be the day that I tell my money where to go. Yeah, yeah, these are some important steps. These are some important habits of being an entrepreneur. We have to understand our power. And so today is the day that I will sit and have my money date. I know my financial coach, advisor, whatever we want to call her, will be proud of me because I have not had a money date in quite some time. And the way I was spending on vacation, come on, somebody. We got to tell the truth, shame the devil. The way I was spending on vacation, I do need to sit down and look at my money, because I have this premise that if I don't look at it, then it doesn't disappear on me. But we know that those results are in, and we know that's a lie. The more you don't look at your money, the quicker it dissipates. It will poof right before your eyes. And so today I'm setting intentions, one, to clear my space, because one of the things that I notice is that when um my mental feels as though it's winding down, I have to start with my space. Start with your space. So if you're in a space where things are feeling mentally heavy, spiritually heavy, physically heavy. You got a lot going on. There's a lot of things pulling you in different directions. One of the things that I found to be beneficial, good morning, Leslie. One of the things that I find to be beneficial is to start with my space. So last night I had my candle going, so I got the good aroma going on. And so today I will do, I will continue with that. I will put my candle on, I will put my mood music on, and I am going to reclaim my space. And a lot of people don't realize that when life feels like it's taking control of you, it always reminds me of and it's funny, like there were certain things in nursing school that I always remember. Like no matter what goes on, those daggone cranial nerves, I can't compute those cranial nerves. I learn them for the moment and then I dump them. If I don't use them, I dump them. I ain't got no use for it in my brain. Those EKG waves and everything, nah, I learn it for the moment and then I dump it. But there are certain things from nursing school that I always remember, and one of which is the fact that with eating disorders, a lot of children have anorexia, bulimia. Good morning, Carol. Because food is one thing that they can control, right? When mom's telling you what to do, where to go, dad is telling you, what you can do, who you can hang out with. When you feel like life has taken away your control, right? So when you feel as though life is moving you where you don't particularly feel like you have a say in where you go and what you do. um, I felt like that. Yeah, I remember. And for the people who are new, especially on Instagram, um, there was a season in my life when I was working my corporate job. And when I was exactly, Bernadette, like mindset is everything. When I was working my corporate job, I felt like I didn't have freedom, right? We got to look, keeping it 1,000, right? Um, I felt as though I didn't have freedom. Now, the goal for me, the coveted goal, was to get to that six-figure salary. Right? That was my goal. That was where I desired to be. And I remember setting the declaration that that's where I wanted to be. And one of my sisters even called me and she was like, sis, write that thing down, put it up on the wall so that you can see it. And I wrote $100,000 on a sticky note and I put it up on my refrigerator. Now nobody knows, like first of all, I don't get that much traffic coming in and out of my house, but nobody really understood or even questioned why I had this little sticky note that said $100,000 on my refrigerator. But the kitchen, the refrigerator was something that I faced every day. And so that's where I put my reminder, right? It's my house. I do what I want to do. But that's where I needed my reminder. And then one time I went to Vegas and they had a chip, like a poker chip, like that was a magnet. And they had one that said $100,000. And so I bought that one. And then that replaced the sticky note because now that was a magnet and it was a chip. And so that was my goal. And so I had to look at that every day in order for me to reach it. But in my mind, I felt like if I got more money, then it would give me freedom, right? That's the way we think. We think money gives us power. We think money gives us freedom. But in actuality, having a six-figure job did not give me the freedom that I thought I desired. Now, yes, it gave me the money. So if I wanted something, right? If I wanted to go to Vegas, if I wanted to go to South Africa, if I wanted to go wherever, I had the money to get there. That wasn't a thing. It was like if I see it, I want it, I bought it, right? I was that throw it in the bag kind of a chick. And it allotted me that. But there was a point in time where it did not feel like freedom. And I remember one day I felt like, and y'all might say, Shaniqua, you being dramatic. You might be like, Shaniqua, you being so daggone dramatic. But this is my feelings, right? You got to acknowledge your feelings. When you don't open and express your feelings, then you get caught up in a warp that you don't even realize what's going on. And how I felt at the time, it felt like prison. It felt like prison. They told me what time I had to be there. You got to be here at 9 o'clock. And then I had the issue, and most people would be like, Shaniqua, that's not really a big issue. But it was. It was a big issue for me when I agreed to take the job. The time was 9 o'clock. And then a few years later, they decide to say, no, well, now we need you here at 8:30. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second. That's not what I agreed to. I agreed to the 9 a.m. start time. I didn't agree to 8:30. And now that I'm in it, now you want to change the rules to the game? And I felt like I didn't have a say because I wanted the money. So there was a time where I felt like I was not free. I had to go I had to show up when they wanted me to show up. They would call the stupidest meetings, things that could have been an email, could have been an update, and it call these long drawn out meetings. For what? For what? I felt like I was not in control. I felt as though I did not have freedom. And what I had did was I had wrote it up on my wall. And when I would get up in the morning, exactly, Leslie, like you become a slave. You become a voluntary or even an involuntary slave, right? Because we got to have money, right? That's just the way our world works. We got to have money. We got to pay the rent, got to pay the bills, got to pay this, right? So we need money to exchange for these goods and these services. So we become like, it's almost like we don't have a choice. Again, we lack the freedom to say what it is that I'm going to do, how it is I'm going to do it, when I'm going to do it. Bernadette says, like, you find yourself having to schedule time, right? In order to do what it is that you want. Exactly. Like you are conditioned, right? This is the way the rat race becomes. And so I wrote up the word freedom on my wall, and when I would be on my treadmill, I would be running and walking on my treadmill and looking up at that word freedom. And that was a desire of mine. And then one day I had this epiphany. It wasn't just one day. It's not something that just poof automatically happened. But it was like a combination of days. And what I finally came to the realization was I was exchanging my time for money. Right. Exactly. Like your time is not even your own. Like, so they tell you you get a certain amount of vacation days, but then you got to ask them to use it. You got to clear it with them. And I remember one time, uh, the director said to me, she almost this is what she said to me. And again, people might say, Shanique, well, you just being just sensitive. Like you just being really, really sensitive, Shaniqua. No. Stop telling yourself that. Stop downgrading how you feel and what you're hearing. This is how people are getting over on you because they're banking that you're not going to say anything. They're banking on the fact that it's going to fly over your head. But what they didn't know about me on the job is that I had spiritual hearing and I could hear things that you would casually throw in a conversation. People would literally say stuff to me that honestly they had no business saying. But the Lord was like, nah, she gotta know this. Cause watch how she moves with this information. She's not gonna just take this information and just go off skipping with it. She's gonna use it. This is gonna help her to build her strategy. This is gonna help her to grow. And one day the director sat in my face and said, I almost had to, how did she say it? I almost had to, um, I forgot how she said it verbatim, but basically she was saying that she almost didn't approve. That's what she said. She almost didn't approve my vacation time. My vacation that I work for, my vacation. So when you work, you accrue vacation time, right? It's like a portion of your work hours gets tucked away into this little bank, this little budget. And she said to me, I almost didn't approve your vacation time. That didn't sit well with me. I heard it. And she didn't say it angry. She didn't say it nasty. She just said it regularly. Um, she just said it regular, right? But the way it hit me, it solidified the fact that I wasn't as wealthy as I thought I was. Having six figures didn't really mean as much as I thought it would because it felt like a modern day slavery. I almost didn't approve your vacation time. I kind of wish she hadn't approved it. I kind of wish she hadn't approved it so I could have sent a message. And that could have been my reasoning for relinquishing my position. But God was like, you don't have to move angry. Right? When you let go of something, you don't have to let go of it because you're angry. You could just let go of it because you're done. And so I didn't leave at that moment, but it was a reality check for me. It's like, yo, these people control you. And I didn't have the freedom. And the freedom was a desire of minds. So as I'm running on the treadmill, literally sweating and going nowhere, running on a treadmill and going absolutely nowhere. I was running towards freedom, but I was going nowhere. And then it dawned on me, what is all of us, what is our greatest asset? It's not money, right? Right? The money didn't give me the freedom. In fact, the money put me deeper in in debt. It put me deeper in this cage. It put me deeper. Bernadette on Instagram says, or excuse me, LGL Real Talk, that's my homegirl. LGL Real Talk says it gave you some financial solace, but that was temporary, right? It gives you financial solace. Yes, you could pay the bills. Yes, you can buy the bag. Yes, yes, and more. Yes. Good morning, Rini. But what is your greatest asset, right? Real talk, it's you, right? You are your greatest asset. And if you are miserable, if you are not doing what it is that you desire to do, you are killing you. You are killing the asset. You are stifling your greatest asset. It's you. It's your potential. It's the calling that's been placed upon your life. It's what you have been created to do. You stifle that. So now you come into agreement with a system that has banked off of us giving our time in exchange for something. Exactly. Exactly. LGL Real Talk says because when they don't want you anymore, they will replace you. Easy peasy. So I had to realize that money doesn't fix it. Understanding fixes it. Understanding what your greatest asset is. You are the talent. I told you all that story where one day I was going to be a guest on someone's television show, and I went to their studio, and they actually had two studios. So we went to film in one studio for the first portion, and then we were switching over. We went to the second studio, and the second studio had not been used as much, so it was a little colder in there. And I remember the host had like a team of people with her, and they were helping to transition us from one studio to the other studio. They were making sure everything was all set up, microphones or lighting, all of this good stuff. They took care of all of the technical stuff. And I remember like it was yesterday, one of the gentlemen that was there getting everything set up. When we got to the new location, as they were preparing to set up the lighting and everything, he goes and he gets this little stool, and it was like a metal stool, and it was cold because again, there's no heat in this place. Like they don't really use it just every now and again. And so things were cold. They had to get everything kind of set up, shook up, and ready for recording. And he takes the stool and he's like rubbing his hand on it, and he's sitting his behind on it, and he's rubbing it, and he's warming it up. And I say to him, he's warming it up for me to sit down. That's what he was doing. And I say to him, I was like, you don't have to do all of that. Like, I'm not that chick that, you got to roll out red carpets and, ask me what my favorite candy is and bring it. And, like I'm not that one. I consider myself very, very low maintenance. And he was like, nah, he was like, you the talent. I never forgot that. He called me the talent. He was like, I do all of these things. Like, I bring you water. I will warm up your chair. I will make sure you are comfortable because you are the talent. And I didn't truly understand that. I just kind of, at that moment, I kind of just giggled it off, felt all dainty and everything. And I love that feeling, to be honest with you. I love when someone caters to me. But oftentimes they recognize that you are the talent because you won't. You won't recognize that you are the talent. You won't recognize that you are the greatest asset. So, when it comes to spending money on something, if you desire to go to the gym and you want to buy a gym membership, you will look at it and be like, well, that costs too much and I have to wait because I need other things for my household. You will decide now when your kid needs some sneakers, or whether they need them or not, if they just want some sneakers, you will buy your kids sneakers quicker than you will buy yourself a gym membership. Again, it's because you have been preconditioned. You have been preconditioned to believe that you are not the asset. You are not the talent. What you do is the asset. What you earn is the asset. Where you go is the talent. And that is not true. We think the title that we hold is the talent. That is not true. We are the talent. So if we want to go to Houston, we go to Houston. I tell my money what we are going to do. Money, we are going to Houston. The talent wants a vacation. The talent is not asking you if now is a good time. May I go, sir? Please. The talent is not asking. The talent is putting forth the command. The talent is making the declaration. This is where she will be on such and such dates. Now, earth, get into alignment. People, get into alignment. Don't need me between this date and that date because I will not be here. I will not be here. I'm not asking for permission. I'm not clearing it with your calendar. I'm telling you when I'm going to be where I want to be. That's a shift. But when you leave it up to, and look, I'm preaching to myself. I'm not preaching to y'all. I know it may sound like I'm preaching to y'all, but I'm not preaching to y'all. I'm preaching to myself. Okay? But see, LGL Real Talk, she got it. She says, okay, you the talent. Right? You the birthday. You the birthday. Come on. Come on. This is how we speak life to ourselves. And I'm literally preaching to myself. Stop putting what you want to do on a to-do list and just get it done and make everything else fall in alignment. Stop making, like I said, we won't pay for the gym membership for ourselves. But if our kid says they want to go to Chuck E. Cheese, or if they need a pair of new sneakers, or they got a school class trip, now you giving all of your money, all of your resources. Now you telling your resources that your children are the most important thing. And you conveniently go back and sit in your little cage, in your own little corner. You convince yourself of that. You convince yourself that putting your needs last is honorable. Who says? Who told us that? Who told us that putting our wants, our needs, our desires last is honorable? Who told us that? It's not true. It's not true. He will give us the desires of our hearts. But we too scared to desire it. He will give you the desires of your heart. But you are too scared to desire it because society, this world, has convinced us that we are not the talent. So we stifle our growth. We do with the bare minimum. Oh, you don't have to call me. I'll survive. Oh, you don't have to give me any money. I'll survive. I'll do it. I could do it. I've done it before. I don't need you. Ah, da 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 da. Out of order. It's out of order. And then the society tells us, well, if you have money, then you can buy yourself what it is that you want. You can buy yourself um, this. You can use money as an exchange. But then you give all your money and then you got nothing for yourself. Oh, I want to live in a house. So I give all my money to the people so that I can live in the house. But money doesn't buy happiness. And money, I'll tell you, money doesn't buy freedom. You know what buys freedom? Time. Time. Exactly, Leslie. Like we think it's so grand to be famous and a celebrity, right? I did that whole thing before. I was saying that I am a celebrity. Like I'm a celebrity. People just don't know, and everybody just don't know it. But that doesn't take away the fact that I am a celebrity. But I don't want to be that type of celebrity that can't go where I want to go. Where everybody's looking at you like, oh my God, is she over here? Oh, what's she doing over there? I don't want you that much in my business because I'm gonna go where I want to go. Because that's the type of freedom that I'm after. Yeah. You can't even go to the grocery store. You can't go to Target. You always got to have your face beat in order for you to go to the supermarket. Like you just can't go to the park with your kids. Paparazzi out taking pictures. It's like, dang, leave me alone. So what are you giving up? But see, time, time I've learned, right? Over time, I've learned that time is more valuable. So if you say you want to do something, how much time you think you got to do it? Yeah, we like to wait until we have the money. Oh, when I get the money, when I get the money, when I get the money. You put all of these hopes and dreams on when you get the money, but the reality is when you get the money, something else is going to jump in its way. As soon as you get the money revved up, here comes something else. Here come the car making noise. Car ain't made noise the whole time you were grinding and trying to save money. And in a minute you get some money, thinking it now affords you a luxury. Now here comes the car making noise. Now here comes the children's teeth being unstraight. Kids' teeth had no problems. They had no cavities. Everything was going good all this time. And the minute you now have some money, now they need braces. Is because we've put too much emphasis on money. There are certain trips, and I'm telling my truth. I'm telling my truth, shame the devil. I'm telling my truth. I've been wanting to go to Ghana for years. And every time I've had 3 opportunities to go to Ghana. One was the absolute best opportunity to go to Ghana. And it came in response to a conversation I had with the Lord just the day prior. I literally had a conversation with God about me going to Ghana. I literally told God what the perfect scenario would be in order for me to go to Ghana, and the opportunity showed itself, revealed itself the very next day. Did she take the opportunity to go? Good morning, Joyanne. Nope. She started counting the dollars and cents. Now, mind you, I even put a deposit down. I put a deposit down. But then I talked myself out of it because of the money. Good morning, Fred. Right. LGL talks about some Gucci braces. The kids need some Gucci braces. Right. So I talked myself out of the opportunity, the perfect opportunity. The way I said was the perfect opportunity. I allowed money to talk me out of it. And then I ended up losing money because I couldn't get my deposit back. And then another opportunity came up for me to go to Ghana again. This opportunity costing a little less. And because I no longer had my coveted 6-figure job, again, I talked myself out of it because I was like, I don't have the money. Um, and if I get the money, I shouldn't be spending it on a trip to Ghana, right? That's frivolous. It's not frivolous. It's taking care of the talent. If you are the talent, why are you not taking care of you. So it's always money. Money, 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 money. I don't have enough. It's not coming in. But then the Lord had to show me during this season of me being a full time entrepreneur. The Lord had to show me, you've been doing everything without money. It's like you went to the Philippines with no money. Like, what are you talking about? You ain't got no money. You ain't got no money. Like, you just allocated the money and said that this was a priority and this was where you're going. And then to die, that's what you did. So how you in the Philippines with no money? It's your mindset. When you start to grow and to mature and to evolve and to realize that you are the talent, you are your greatest asset, then you start moving differently. As I started out saying, with eating disorders, right? A lot of children develop eating disorders because that the eating is the one thing that they can control. I won't eat. I will eat if you force me to, but then I am going to expel it, right? I have control over that. So we know that to be an extreme grabbing of control. But sometimes you wild out when you feel like you don't have any choice. We can go bonkers when we feel like choice is being taken away from us, when somebody else is control, when we feel like we are under someone else's control, we will wild out. Like I talked about being the cat in the cage. The cat can't differentiate between this is the hand that locked me in the cage versus this is the hand that's opening up the cage door. A hand is a hand, baby. I'm gonna claw anything. If I see a hand and I see an opportunity, I'm just gonna go crazy on it. I'm not gonna sit here and say, is this the person that put me in the cage? Or is this the person that's trying to save me? We're not thinking like that. We're not thinking like that, right? So it's time for the reframe. It's time for the reframe. LGL Real Talk says we are looking at money in the context like of paying your bills, but going on a trip, going out to eat, doing something that you desire, something that you deserve, it's frivolous. Oh, you ain't got no money for that. It's not that you don't have no money, it's that you don't want to spend the money on it. Because you've allowed the world to tell you that it's frivolous. You've allowed the world to tell you that it's unnecessary. You have now become the hand that has put you in the cage. Your jail cell doesn't need a guard. Doesn't need a guard. Have you ever seen the picture? It's been on social media. Um, this was before like AI was popular. But there was a picture of a horse, and the horse had a chain around its neck, but the chain wasn't hooked to anything, right? Like a collar, but the other end wasn't hooked to anything. But the fact that the horse recognized that they had this chain around its neck, this yoke around its neck, it didn't move. So nobody had to guard the horse. Nobody had to go to the horse and say, you stay right there. You stay right there. Because it was preconditioned. It's preconditioned because its normal day-to-day life is having this yoke on it, and this person riding, and it's pulling this carriage, and the whip was like, yo, go, go, right? Like, it's preconditioned. So even when the person is not there, still won't move. So the jail, the cage, the bondage that you're in, whether you're feeling it from your family, from your job, because I've admitted I felt trapped. Can you admit when you feel trapped? When you feel like life is controlling you? Nobody even has to tell you, no, you can't go there. Nobody has to even not approve your vacation time, because you won't take it anyway. You won't take it anyway. You over here bragging that you got 12 weeks of vacation time stored up. And we could die tomorrow. You could have millions. You could, oh, I got millions of dollars in the bank. And again, you can die tomorrow. So you've tried it that way, and it doesn't work. But you're convinced that eventually it will work. But it doesn't work. I'm at my happiest not when I have a lot of money in my pocket, but when I get to exercise time freedom. So when I get to say, you know what? I'm going to lay down and take a nap during the day. That makes me feel better than the grind. That regulates me when I get to be the talent and I get to decide where she's going, what she's doing, how she's doing it, when she's doing it, where she's doing it, and who she's doing it with. Control is a deep, deeply rooted source. And it's time that we take the control back. It's time we reframe the thoughts in our mind and go from saying, I don't have money for this, to telling my money, this is what we're going to do. So I don't know about you all, but today is a great day to have a money date. And if you don't know, a money date is when you sit down with your money. It's when you sit down with your money. And if you don't sit down with your money, if you don't have conversation with your money, if you're scared to look at your money, if you are in bondage when the other end of the chain is not even connected to anything, when if you sit in the jail cell and the door ain't even locked, you haven't even pushed the door to see if it was locked or not. You just assumed that it was locked. There ain't no guard outside because the world has convinced you to self guard. Oh, you don't have no title. There ain't no reason for you trying to advance. There's no reason why you should go for that job because you don't have the education, because you don't have the fancy title, you don't have the years of experience. You might as well just sit in this mediocre job. You guard yourself. Nobody even has the opportunity to say yay or nay to you because you've already told yourself nay. Good morning, Renee. You've already told yourself you can't afford it. You've already told yourself that that's crazy. You can't do it. You've already told yourself that the kids need Gucci braces is more needing Gucci braces is more important than you taking a self-care day and going to the spa and getting your hair. You've already said that. You've already declared and decreed that. Ain't no sense in going back on it now. You've already put everything in this world over you. You've already told yourself you're not worth it. You've already told yourself that everybody else is more important and you suck. That's basically what you told yourself. But just imagine if we changed our mind on some things. Just imagine if we reframed just a little bit. How much greater, how much stronger, how much freedom you will really see that you have. There's freedom in the reframe. There's freedom in the reframe. So if I had to title this, and eventually I'm going to get back to giving these things titles and putting the thumbnails. I just ain't had time for all of that. But I would call this message, There is Freedom in the Reframe. And I challenge you to change the lens and look at your situation differently. You can't be afraid to look at your money because you need to be the boss of it. You need to tell it where it's going. And whether it's going on a trip to Ghana or it's going to a new life for yourself, whatever, you are the boss of it. You are in control. You are the guard at the gate. You can either allow yourself to go through it or you can keep yourself in bondage. But it's totally up to you. Amen. Amen. And amen. That is it. That is all I got for you today. I hope and I pray that this message gave you permission. If you were waiting for permission, I hope it gave you the permission that you needed to reframe, because there's freedom that comes from that. Amen. All right, all. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for tuning in this morning. I thank God for showing up with um, a message. And like I said, I wasn't preaching to y'all. I wasn't preaching to y'all because when I look, I see me. I don't see y'all. I see me. So that's who I was listening. That's who I was talking to. And if you were eavesdropping, that's your business. Okay, that's your business. If you was eavesdropping to the conversation I was having with me and me, but I hope that it delivered you. I hope that it set you free. I hope it made you think and see your situation just a little bit differently. Amen. So you all go forward. Have a beautiful, blessed day. We are here at Thursday. Come on, somebody. We're one more day to this week. One more day. One more day to the work week, I should say, for those who are Monday through Friday workers, because if you work on the weekend, baby, we're not even talking to you, right? But if you have time freedom, right, it doesn't even matter, right? What does it matter if you have time freedom? It doesn't matter if it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or even Monday. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So it's time for us to break that mold of being preconditioned that certain days of the week are better than the other. They're not. Stop. Don't let the world play in your face like that. Right? Amen. I'm grateful to hear that, Leslie. All right, you all have a beautiful and blessed day. And thank you, Bernadette. I'll talk to you real soon. You all go forward, have a beautiful and blessed day. And I'll see you back here tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.